The sterling silver clinked against fine china as my mother-in-law, Margaret Whitmore, directed the Thanksgiving seating with military precision. "Servants eat separately," she announced, her voice cutting through the room like a blade when she finally noticed me. "We have standards to maintain in this family." The words hit me like ice water, but I kept my face neutral. 3 years of marriage to Richard, and his mother still treated me like the gold digger who'd trapped her precious son. Around the mahogany table, the rest of the Whitmore clan pretended not to notice as Margaret pointed toward the kitchen with one manicured finger. "The help can eat there," she added, already turning away as if I'd ceased to exist. My husband Richard emerged from his father's study just in time to catch his mother's dismissal. His jaw tightened. "Mother, Sophia is my wife." "Richard." His father's voice boomed from the study. "Johnson's on the line about Singapore." "Now!" Richard shot me an apologetic look before disappearing back into the study. Always business first with the Whitmores. Always. I smoothed my deliberately simple black dress and walked into the kitchen, where the catering staff looked up in shock as I pulled out a stool at the small breakfast bar. "Ma'am, you don't have to," one server started. "Apparently I do," I said quietly, settling onto the uncomfortable stool. Through the pass-through window, I could hear Margaret reassigning seats, ensuring her social hierarchy remained intact. "Thomas, darling, tell everyone about your promotion at Goldman," Charlotte's voice drifted through. Richard's sister never missed a chance to flaunt her connections. And wasn't the Astoria Monte Carlo divine? Though I do think the new owners have simply ruined it. New money, they just don't understand luxury. I bit back a smile. I'd acquired the Astoria last year, and Charlotte's, ruined, meant we'd stopped giving free suites to Instagram influencers who provided no real value. My phone buzzed. A text from my CFO, Marcus. "Dubai deal closed. Congratulations, you now own the largest private real estate portfolio in the Northern Hemisphere." Before I could respond, the doorbell rang. Through the kitchen doorway, I heard Richard greeting someone, then a familiar voice that made my stomach tighten. Alexander Murphy, Richard's business partner, and one of the few people who knew exactly who I was. "Alex, thought you were in Tokyo," Richard said. "Flew back early. Is Sophia here? I have urgent papers for her signature." Margaret's syrupy voice responded. "Oh, she's in the kitchen. You know how it is. We all must know our place." There was a long pause. Then footsteps. Alex appeared in the kitchen doorway, his face darkening as he took in the scene. Me sitting among the catering staff while his business partner's family dined in luxury. "Why," he said slowly, his voice carrying into the dining room, "is the woman who owns half of Manhattan standing in the kitchen like hired help?" The silence that followed was deafening. I heard a fork clatter against china. "Owns half of Manhattan?" Margaret's voice had lost its commanding tone. Alex strode into the dining room, and I followed, no longer willing to hide. He pulled out his phone, navigating to a Financial Times article. Sophia Sterling, CEO of Sterling Holdings, Brandenburg International, and about 17 other companies. He turned the screen toward the stunned family. She closed a $3.8 billion deal in Dubai this morning. It's front-page news. Thomas's water glass slipped from his hand, crystal shattering on the hardwood floor. Flooring I'd personally selected when I bought this building 2 years ago. That's impossible," Margaret breathed. "She's just a secretary from Queens." "A secretary?" I finally spoke, my voice calm. "I was evaluating Richard's firm for acquisition when we met. I've been building my empire since I was 19, starting with a single rundown building in Queens that I renovated and flipped." "But you live in that tiny apartment," Charlotte stammered. "I own the building. All 47 units." I pulled out my phone, showing the stream of messages from my executive team. "Just like I own this building, the one next door, and most of this block." Richard emerged from the study, his face cycling through emotions. "The Sterling Foundation, the anonymous donor who saved Thomas's firm last year." "Me," I confirmed. "Also the one who's been rejecting Thomas's real estate offers. Sterling Holdings has bigger plans for that block than another soulless luxury development." Margaret had gone pale, her careful composure cracking. "All these years, why didn't you say anything?" "Because you decided who I was the moment you heard my background. A girl from Queens couldn't possibly be good enough for your precious family." I met each of their eyes in turn. "So I let you believe what you wanted while I built an empire that makes your old money look like pocket change." "The crystal collection last Christmas," Margaret whispered. "The one I couldn't trace. A gift from me through a shell company. Just like the anonymous donation that funded the new wing at your country club. I've been taking care of this family for years, even as you treated me like something you'd scrape off your shoe. William, Richard's father, found his voice. You've been deceiving us. No, I corrected. I've been letting you deceive yourselves. There's a difference. Every snide comment about my background, every servants eat separately. Every time you introduced me as Richard's little wife from Queens, you showed me exactly who you are. Alex pulled out a folder. The Tokyo contracts, Sophia. We need these signed before the markets close, or we lose the Yamamoto Group acquisition. I glanced at the papers, another multi-billion-dollar deal that would expand my Asian portfolio. The Whitmores watched in stunned silence as I reviewed clauses worth more than their entire family fortune. Your SS, Thomas said suddenly, connecting dots. The mysterious SS that's been reshaping Manhattan real estate for 5 years. Every major development, every landmark acquisition, that's you. Guilty, I said, signing the contracts with quick precision. Richard moved toward me. Sophia, You knew, I said quietly. Maybe not everything, but you knew I was more than your family believed. And you let them treat me like this anyway. His shoulders slumped. I was a coward. I thought keeping the peace was more important than defending my wife. The Sterling Scholarship Foundation, Charlotte said faintly. We attend the gala every year. We've been writing checks to you. To kids from Queens who deserve the same chances I had. Funny how charitable your family becomes when there are cameras around. I handed the signed contracts back to Alex. We're done here. Sophia, wait, Margaret started, her tone suddenly conciliatory. Surely we can discuss this misunderstanding. Misunderstanding? I laughed. You made me eat in the kitchen at Thanksgiving. That's not a misunderstanding, Margaret. That's showing someone exactly how little you value them. My phone rang. The mayor's office, probably about the affordable housing project I was funding. I let it go to voicemail. Do you know what the ironic part is? I asked, gathering my coat. Not the modest wool I'd worn to maintain my facade, but the cashmere one I'd left in the kitchen. I fell in love with Richard when I had nothing but ambition and a studio apartment. I'd have been happy being middle class if it meant being with him. But you couldn't see past your own prejudice long enough to realize you were pushing away someone who genuinely loved your son. Please, William said, desperation creeping into his voice. The Whitmore Foundation has been trying to partner with Sterling Holdings for years. If we'd known, you'd have treated me with basic human dignity? I finished. How generous. But my companies only partner with people who see value in humanity, not net worth. Richard stepped forward. I'm coming with you. Margaret grabbed his arm. Richard, don't be ridiculous. Think of your family. I am, he said firmly, removing her hand. I'm thinking of my wife. The woman I failed to protect from my own family's cruelty. He moved to my side. I don't deserve forgiveness, Sophia, but I'm asking for the chance to earn it. I studied his face, seeing genuine remorse for the first time in 3 years. One chance, Richard. That's all. The cars are here, Alex announced, looking out at the fleet of vehicles my security team always had ready. As we walked toward the door, I paused. Oh, and Margaret? That staff you made me sit with, they'll be getting quite a holiday bonus this year. Enough to ensure they never have to serve people like you again if they choose not to. You can't just leave, Charlotte protested. It's Thanksgiving. You're right, I said. Which is why I'm going to have a real Thanksgiving dinner. With people who see me as a person, not a servant. I pulled out my phone one more time. Marcus? Contact Le Bernardine. Tell them I need their private dining room in 20 minutes. And send cars to pick up the catering staff from the Whitmore residence. They're having dinner with us tonight. As we walked out, I heard Thomas asking his father, Do you think she'd reconsider our real estate offer now? The desperation in his voice was almost pitiful. Almost. Outside, Manhattan glittered beneath a canopy of lights, my lights in my buildings in my city. The empire I'd built while serving appetizers to people who thought they were better than me. For what it's worth, Richard said as we settled into the car, I love you. Not your money, not your companies. You. Prove it, I said simply. My phone buzzed. Forbes wanted an exclusive interview about the Dubai acquisition. The Wall Street Journal was running a profile. The secret was out. SS was no longer a mystery. As we pulled away from the building, I saw the Whitmores pressed against the window, watching their perceived superiority crumble with each town car that followed ours. Margaret was probably already calculating how to spin this to her society friends. Ma'am, my driver asked. Le Bernardine is confirming the private room. They're asking if you want the Thanksgiving menu or your usual. Both, I decided. And tell them we'll have extra guests, the people who showed me more kindness in one evening than my in-laws managed in 3 years. Richard squeezed my hand. I'll spend the rest of my life making this right. Words are cheap, Richard. Even from a Whitmore. I pulled up another contract on my phone. Lucky for you. I believe in investing in things with potential for growth. As Manhattan blurred past, I thought about the girl from Queens who'd started with nothing but ambition. Every slight had fueled my drive. Every servants eat separately had pushed me to build higher, reach further, acquire more. The Whitmores thought they were putting me in my place. Instead, they'd created a queen who owned the very ground beneath their feet. My phone lit up with another opportunity, a hotel chain in Europe looking for a buyer. I smiled and forwarded it to my team. Empires weren't built on revenge. They were built on the relentless pursuit of proving everyone wrong. And tonight, while Margaret Whitmore tried to salvage her Thanksgiving dinner, I'd be dining at the best table in Manhattan. My table. My terms. My empire. No more eating in the kitchen. Thanks for watching. See you again in the next video. Stay stunned.